There's a specific kind of frustration that only watch collectors can understand. And it's not when a watch is too rare or too hard to acquire or when it's too expensive, but it's simply when a watch just doesn't exist, when you know it definitely should and it would sell like hotcakes if it did. And that's exactly what I want to talk about here today. I want to share 5 watches that I personally wish existed. And I also want to talk about why I think they should exist and the gap in their respective catalogs that they'd be filling. I truly think that the 5 watches I'm going to share with you today would fill a gap in the market and the whole watch community would appreciate them, and I think they would actually sell very well. Okay, let's jump right into it with the first watch that I wish existed, and we're going to start fairly simple, and that's with the Rolex Explorer but with a white dial. And really the reason why I think this watch would do well is pretty simple. We all know and love the Rolex Explorer II, and it's a watch that is legendary and it sells extremely well and is very desirable. And of course, as we all know, that watch comes in 2 dial colors, white and black. And with that in mind, it just kind of feels wrong sometimes that the original Rolex Explorer does not also come in those same dial variations. With the Rolex Explorer II, it truly feels like there are fans on both sides of the fence that love both the white and black dial, and I think that would be the exact same situation for the original Rolex Explorer. I think you would truly have fans of the original black dial, but I think if a white dial came out, you would have a huge group of people that prefer that as well. And I would most certainly be one of those people who prefer the white dial option. I personally own a Rolex Explorer reference 114270. I also own the previous generation 36mm Explorer, the 114270. Both those watches are fantastic, but I've always been someone who prefers a white dial on a daily basis, and I think I would just simply sell my black dial for the white one if that was an option. And I mean, let's face it, the Rolex Explorer is one of the best daily watches on the planet, maybe in the history of watchmaking. It's the reason why I love my Explorer so much. It's a watch that I can just throw on and not have to worry about anything else. And yet the other most common dial color for a daily piece, white, is not an option. It just feels like a match made in heaven. In recent years, Rolex has even messed around with the Explorer, making a 2-tone version of the watch. So it seems like they are pretty open to making some changes or additions to the Rolex Explorer catalog and options out there, so why not start with a white dial? Okay, moving on here to the second watch that I wish existed. I wish there was a mid-sized Grand Seiko diver. Grand Seiko is a spectacular brand, and I think everyone would agree that they make some of the best dials and have some of the best finishing in the watch industry today. And like I said, I think they're a great brand, but the main weakness in their catalog, in my opinion, that is glaring, is a mid-sized diver. I guess you could go so far to say that their biggest weakness is just a dive watch in general. They don't really have an iconic dive watch that they continuously produce, but I really think the mid-sized diver category is where they should focus. Standard Seiko dive watches already sell pretty dang well, and I just can't imagine a world where a mid-size, really nice looking Grand Seiko diver doesn't sell well as well. And really the main inspiration behind this is seeing the success over the past 10 years of the Tudor Black Bay, both the 58 and the 54, which are a 39 and 37mm watch respectively. To me, it seems like the magic of the Tudor Black Bay 58 is that 39mm case size just fits so well on any wrist. If you have a smaller wrist like myself, you can consider a watch like that, but even if you have a larger wrist, it is okay for your size. And in my opinion, that is where Grand Seiko really needs to target. It's that mid-size, 37 to 39mm space that I think, like I said, in my opinion, would just sell so well. And while you're at it, why don't you capitalize on some of the great watches that you've made over the past 10 to 15 years? Make a snowflake diver, make a white birch diver, a shun bun. I think that'd be really cool to see. Like I said, I think dive watches for the Grand Seiko catalog is a weakness in general, but again, to reiterate one final time, I think the mid-size sort of space, again, 37 to 39mm, would be fantastic for them to invest in. Okay, so the third watch that I wish existed today is the Black Bay 58 in taupe. Now you might be thinking to yourself, that watch already exists, which you'd be right. But what I want specifically is a Black Bay 58 in taupe in stainless steel. Currently, the Black Bay 58 in taupe only comes in sterling silver, which is very unique and very cool, to be honest, but in my opinion also makes it a hard watch to buy. That silver case, despite being so unique, is a huge downside because that silver material will wear down over time differently than your other watches. And in addition to that, it doesn't come on a bracelet, which to me is a pretty big deal. And it's really a shame because the Black Bay in taupe is one of my favorite watches to look at. I think it's really so beautiful, and I would love to own it if it just came in stainless steel. And while they're at it, I would also love if they made this watch in the Black Bay 54 version as well. I would love that smaller size for my smaller wrist personally. Okay, moving on to the fourth watch that I wish existed today. I wish there was a 36 to 38mm Rolex Explorer II. Okay, so yes, this is the second time that I brought up the Rolex Explorer lineup in this video, and for good reason in my opinion. As I mentioned earlier, this watch is legendary and loved by so many in the watch community. However, the main problem with the Rolex Explorer II is its size and wearability. If you're someone like myself with a smaller wrist, it's kind of hard to consider buying a Rolex Explorer II. And in fact, I've always been a fan of the Rolex Explorer II in terms of its design, but because I have a smaller wrist, I've quite literally never actually considered buying one. And that all would change if they made a modern version of the Rolex Explorer II in the 36 to 38mm size. And I think if we're being realistic, a 38mm size probably works better than the 36. But yeah, either way, I would be happy. The original Rolex Explorer works so well in that 36mm size. It also works in the bigger size, the 40mm case that they make these days. So why not do the reverse with the Rolex Explorer II? They already have the big size, now let's make it in the smaller one. And again, this is a watch that I think would absolutely sell so well to watch enthusiasts out there. I know every Rolex watch is going to sell and resell for more money than you buy it for, but I think this one in particular would actually be a huge fan favorite. And if I'm being honest with you, if I could snap my fingers and make one of these watches that I'm talking about here today into a real watch, I think it would be this one, the Rolex Explorer II in 38mm. I truly think it would be a game changer in the watch industry. Okay, moving on to the fifth and final watch on my list of watches that I wish existed today, and this one might be a bit lofty and maybe the most unrealistic on this list, but I wish they had an affordable Seiko Spring Drive. Now, I want to be very particular about this entry. I'm looking for a Seiko with a Spring Drive movement, not a Grand Seiko. And they actually already make some Seikos with Spring Drive movements, but they're very expensive. They're at the top end of the Seiko catalog. But if in some way, and using all of the might they have with all of their vertical integration, if they could make a Seiko watch, a true Seiko watch with a Spring Drive movement for under $2,000, I think it would sell so well and be a huge fan favorite in the watch industry. And yes, like I said, I know this is probably very unrealistic. The Spring Drive movement is usually in watches costing $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 and upward. So to bring it into a watch that costs $2,000 is probably super unrealistic. But my gosh, if they could make it happen, that would be magical. And just try to picture that for a moment, a $2,000 Seiko Spring Drive watch. I truly think that there would be almost no competition in the $2,000 price tier and lower, because that would absolutely clean up. But I don't want to harp on this one too much. I know it's a bit of a pipe dream, but hey, if we're making a wish list, I have to put this on there. But that's pretty much it for this list. Those are 5 watches that I wish existed today. And like I said, I think each of these watches would fill a great void in the watch industry today, and I think they would all sell extremely well. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think about my list of watches I wish existed. Do you think they would actually sell well? Do you think they would be fan favorites? And more importantly than that, let me know in the comments any watches that you wish existed. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed, I would greatly appreciate it if you can give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you.